Hi, this is Paul. When this Deconstructing Jordan Peterson on Religion video dropped from Cosmic Skeptic, the algorithm served it up to me right away. I watched a few minutes of it and thought, nah. But a lot of people have been poking me and saying, hey, you should talk about this. You should talk about this. Yeah, okay. There's a lot to talk about. Some of it can be put fairly succinctly, and then needs a lot more explanation. First of all, the problem, as with just about all celebrity atheists, are when they talk about God, they talk about a super thing in the sky, and this is no different. In a sense, when you say, what is God? You are setting up the question in a way that minimizes God. And that's exactly what Jordan Peterson is trying to address in the admittedly difficult and cryptic way he goes about talking about it, which is part of the reason that I do what I do on this channel. Now, Cosmic Skeptic is not failing to do his homework. He, I think, is seemingly failing to understand the larger conversation around Peterson that Peterson is clearly participating in, that Cosmic Skeptic has very little understanding of. So now, again, when you listen to him, ask yourself, when he uses the word God, how much assumption is in his mind about what I call the super thing in the sky?
To Jordan Peterson, what is God? To begin answering this, we need to understand Peterson's views about value. For Jordan Peterson, our ability to do just about anything requires a belief in some set of value judgments. Okay, so in order to see anything or do anything, we must be motivated by some hierarchy of values. So here's an important question. What is at the top of that value hierarchy? What is the fundamental value upon which everything else is based? Here's where it gets really interesting.
And you might say, well, how hard are you going to try when you write this essay? And the answer to that would be, well, it depends on how well integrated my view of the ethic is all the way up to the highest place. And then we could say, well, the highest place is the divine place, and we could make that a matter of definition.
There it is. Did you catch that? It was so quick that you'd miss it if you blinked. But Jordan Peterson just told us what God is in his view. Listen again.
And then we could say, well, the highest place is the divine place, and we could make that a matter of definition.
The highest place, that is, the highest place on this value hierarchy that we were just talking about, is the divine place, and we can make that a matter of definition.
Yeah, that's right. And in fact, we do this all the time. A beautiful woman comes around and we say, she's a goddess. The best piece of cake we eat, we say, this is absolutely divine. This is the way we use the language. This is the way we talk about the sacred. This is all of this. Now, again, for the most part, this atheist debate and why it's so tiresome is all about whether or not there's a super thing in the sky, and we call that God. Now, there's a lot built into that I've talked about a lot, and I'm sure we'll continue to talk about a lot because there's a lot that is worthwhile talking about it. But the basic definition here, this is pretty much what Peterson is doing. He is looking at us and saying, what do we mean when we're talking about God? And the definition is not that simple.
Wow. The word divine, of course, means of or relating to God.
Okay, so we're going to take the first simple definition from a simplistic dictionary and say, that's what divine means. Is this really the level of analysis that we're going to be getting from this individual? Divine, this is what divine means. Well, heroes with divine powers, a god like God or a gods. This is part of the reason I didn't even want to touch this video, because it's just silly.
And Peterson has just told us that for him, it's a simple matter of definition that the divine is just whatever value is at the highest place on the value hierarchy. So let's...
And this is exactly how people live. And this is exactly why people continue to deal with everything they deal with. Now, Cosmic Skeptic is, okay, he's going to be skeptical, I suppose, but The end of his conclusion is that Jordan Peterson is an atheist because Jordan Peterson does not believe in the super thing in the sky.
Jordan Peterson is an atheist.
I would say we characterize that using fiction. And so we could say that in the highest sense, God is the ultimate fictional character. And then we're trying to characterize his nature as that which should be emulated that unites us psychologically and socially.
This is exactly what atheists say. God does not exist except as he is invented by the human mind. And the reason why the human mind invents God is to provide some psychological and social stability. If this is not atheism, then what is?
And I'll just have a little excerpt. This is an excerpt from Bishop Barron talking to the same cosmic skeptic and talking to him about theism. Cosmic skeptic apparently doesn't get the point from Bishop Barron, who I don't think he would call Bishop Barron an atheist. But now all the non-theism. Ask yourself here if Bishop Barron is a non-theist.
Because I resonate very much with something Alex just said about Dawkins. Do you know your countryman, he died only about 20 years ago now, Herbert McCabe, the great Dominican theologian. And McCabe often debated atheists publicly in England. But he always made one stipulation, that the atheist would speak first, and then he'd respond. And invariably, he would listen to the atheist make the presentation, and he would say, I completely agree with you. And what he meant simply was this, that atheists serve, and I mean this very seriously, a very important function, and that's to debunk forms of idolatry. So there's a very good example, the crude presentation of God as a being, as some big being alongside of others, where the mainstream of our tradition has consistently denied that of God. And when you fall into that trap, now there's a very crude version of it, the big man with the white beard, but there are less crude versions of it that are still just as problematic. When God is construed as one...
I'm a big man with a white beard.
One competitive being among many, a lot of the problems that the atheists put their finger on emerge. And I mean now going back to Feuerbach and Marx and Jean-Paul Sartre and company, when God is construed competitively, competing for us on the same ontological playing field, a lot of the typical atheist reactions occur. And they're right. They're right to put their finger on that and say, that God doesn't exist. And so I'm with McCabe a lot of the time with atheists. I'll say, yeah, good, I agree. Feuerbach,
Yes.
If God is simply a projection of my idealized self-understanding, Isaiah knew about that. He called it idolatry. Ezekiel knew all about that. If God is just opium for the masses to assuage our suffering, well, of course that's an idol. We put a crucified criminal at the heart of our religious imagination. Sartre, if God exists, I can't be free, but I am free, therefore God doesn't exist. Well, he's right. If God is a great competitor to my freedom. So I say thank God for all those atheists who rid us of certain idols.
And there is no God. None, not one, no God, never was. In fact, I'm gonna put it this way. If there is a God, may he strike this audience dead. See, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Everybody's okay. All right? Tell you what. I'll raise the stakes a little bit. If there is a God, may he strike me dead. See, nothing happened. Oh, wait, got a little cramp in my leg. And my balls hurt. Plus, I'm blind. Oh, now I'm okay again. Must have been Joe Pesci, huh?
So what Cosmic Skeptic has essentially done for us is demonstrate to us that Jordan Peterson is not an idolater. Woohoo! This is why when I saw even the beginning of this video and saw what he was doing, I thought, I don't want to talk about this video. This is a silly video to talk about because he's going to come to the conclusion.
Christians are generally asked to believe in God, not as some fictional representative value judgment, but as a real entity existing independently of the human mind who really came to earth as a human and was really crucified by the...
Okay, well, now he's talking about Christians. Okay, so, and Christianity, I would say, is a subset of theism. And theism, as Bishop Barron just basically told him, is a pretty complex thing. Christianity does not assert that what God finally means is a super thing in the sky. So, yeah, it's really kind of a dumb point. And having sat with Bishop Barron on Unbelievable, it would be nice if Alex O'Connor knew better and didn't make such a video, but he did. And so the best we can perhaps say is that Alex O'Connor proves Jordan Peterson is not an idolater.